flying is done at various stages. I mean, we all know that. So there is initially that ground subjects, and then you have the basics of flying, then go to the advanced stage, then applied stage, etc., etc. So if you could just run through these things, since that is your I think forte training. How do you train pilots, and what it takes, what it would take for them to become good pilots?
Well, it is a question which is close to my heart because I have been involved in training for more than 15 years. Okay. You start training on a simple, small aircraft. Why is it? Number one, it is easy to handle. Number two, it is cheap. And number three, it is slow, so that even if you have any problem, chances of losing a good pilot are rare. Okay, so you start learning, getting used to a new environment by flying a simple machine. That is basic training. But basic training in civil and Air Force is very different. In Air Force, the same basic training has got fixed timelines. You must achieve this standard within this period of time. When I say period of time, it is not a calendar. It is the number of flying hours that you do. You must achieve that standard. And if you don't, then you will be unfortunately set aside and say you will not be flying. It doesn't mean you are not a good pilot. It merely means that you have not met the timeline for training, which is a very important aspect as far as the Air Force and Army and the Navy are concerned. Let me give you a different example. If you're learning how to drive a car, there is no point learning how to drive in a brand new Range Rover or a Mercedes. It is better to buy a small Maruti 800. It is a cheap car, cost of training will be low, and yet you will learn all the rules of the road. Similarly, you will learn all the rules of the air on a small aircraft. And within 15-20 hours, on the same small aircraft, you will start doing aerobatics. You will start doing navigation flying. You will start doing practice force landings. All these things you will do. Something which is not required for a commercial pilot to do. Your skills will develop very fast at a much lesser cost to the government on the basic stage. Okay, this is the basic stage. Now you go to the intermediate stage, where all these exercises are done on advanced aircraft, which are almost as good as the aircraft you will be flying in your career, in the Air Force or the Army or the Navy. You hone your skills, you become an expert at all these aspects. Once you are an expert, now we decide that these good boys and girls will be trifurcated. They will be sent for transports, helicopters, or fighters, partly on your choice and partly based on the service requirement. So, each one of you who reaches the intermediate stage before trifurcation, like they say in Hindi, the difference between the top man and the bottom man is basically 19-20 ka farak. There is no difference. He happens to be slightly good or slightly better. He's not as if he's a whole lot better. No. You're all equals. There's only a marginal difference between the two of you. And keeping that in mind, the armed forces want to make sure that there are equally good people in all the three branches. You're lucky, you may get your choice. If you're unlucky, you do not get your choice. But that doesn't mean anything. It just means that the government requirement is being met. So I would say this much about the training.
Yes, sir. So one more question on this trifurcation. So one aspect, like you said, is your own choice. Another important aspect is the number of vacancies. Does the performance of an individual trainee, does that also count as far as the trifurcation is concerned? Some person may be more suitable for, let us say, fighters or transport or helicopters. Is there something like this?
Well, let me tell you, the flying instructor's course in Indian Air Force is just not a flying instructor's course. It is basically called the all-purpose flying instructor's course. That means you are fit to fly anything. I was commissioned as a transport pilot, but I did my flying instructor's course on the jet aircraft. And thereafter, I was instructing on jet aircraft. So, if you ask me, the difference is very, very narrow. Some people may have an aptitude for a particular thing, like you are good in games. Somebody may say, I'm very good at football, but the other chap says, I'm good in cricket. Third chap says, I'm an expert table tennis player. You're all good. Your preference is slightly different. And when an instructor sees you, he say, young man or young lady, you are very good, but I think you are more suited this side. So that is how sometimes the choice is made. And it depends on your own ability and what the instructor sees in you.
Absolutely. So I think that is an important input, sir. Now, if we can move on to the other stages of flying, so your personal experiences with some challenges during the training?
Challenges during training.
I mean, for the novice pilots, yes, trainees.
So when you start flying, you are in a brand new environment. And let me tell you, I was one of the students who used to feel airsick, and tremendously so. But then I decided that I am not going to let this stop me. In my pocket, I used to carry 3 or 4 small bags. And if I felt uncomfortable and had to vomit, I vomited, closed the bag, put it in the pocket, took out the second bag, kept it ready, and kept flying. I did not let it hurt me or make me feel small in any way. But there are some people who just don't feel airsick. Absolutely. There are others who feel sick even while traveling in a car.
Yes.
So it is an individual thing. There's nothing very great. You will overcome it. I took 20 hours to overcome it. You may be able to do it in 5, 6. But then you do not fail till you give up.
Absolutely.
So point to remember is, you have not failed till you have given up. Okay? So that is what I want you to remember. Plus, you are in a new environment. Your body is not exposed to all those accelerations which you experience in the air. You don't experience it on the ground. These are strange new things. But modern youngsters have been in many of those roller coasters.
Yes.
And that gives you a small inkling of what will be when you get in flying. So there's nothing very fantastic. Once you overcome your initial problems, by about 20 hours, you are literally in your second home.